Without knowing Excel, building a financial model is impossible. In this entire Excel for financial modeling series, we are going to learn the basic to advanced formula that will help you create a professional model. Alongside that, we will learn charting and visualization techniques that will make your model more insightful. In this first video, we are going to understand how to create a professional layout before starting to build a financial model and how to automate it using an Excel macro. So hello there, my name is Karan Damania. I am an ex-investment banker turned founder, and through encoding careers, we help you build successful career in finance. So let's get onto the screen and start mastering Excel. So this is the Excel template that we are going to use for this professional formatting formulas as well as to understand how macro works. Once you understand how entire professional formatting works, how to work upon macro, you can download this entire template from the link in description below and start working on yourself using each of the formulas that we have mentioned. For now, let's get started by understanding how are we going to work on this sheet. So first we have formatting formulas, where we are going to apply each and every formula line by line and create an entire professional formatting template that will be used for creating financial model. Now it is important to understand that whenever you are working in a corporate environment or working in a startup culture, the models that you are going to create should have a professional layout structure and it should be very presentable. For that, you need to understand what are the standards that industry is working with. So as I've been working in the industry for the last 3 years, I now have decent understanding of what is expected by the clients, by the investor, by senior people. So that is what we are going to learn through this professional formatting. When you open new sheet in Excel, you will see this kind of structure, which is default setting of Excel. Now you need to convert this into a professional layout so that you can directly start working. So here we have all the formulas that will help us make it in a professional format. The first formula is about grid lines. So we need to remove all the grid lines. So we can see that the entire page has border kind of things in light color. So we need to remove that because we want our sheet to look like a page which is kind of good to look at and it does not feel like we are working on a checkbox page. So first we will remove all the grid lines. So formula for this is Alt W V G. So here when we press Alt on our keyboard, entire formula bar gets activated. Here we have all the alphabets that we can use to work upon any formula that we want. So first formula is Alt plus W. So when we press W, this activates the view tab. Now in view tab we have all the formulas. When we press any of the given alphabets, that will activate those formulas. So we want to remove the grid lines. So for that it is VG. So we will press V and G together. That way we get all the grid lines removed from this. So this formula check is complete now. Next formula is change sheet. As we are now mastering on our Excel skills, we need to use Excel only through keyboards and not through mouse. For that, whatever functioning you are doing on Excel, it should be done through keyboard. Now whenever you are changing sheet, you can use a mouse and then change sheets. But if you want to use your keyboard to change up and down, then you can press Control plus function button, that is FN button, and then using your arrow keys. If I press down, then I go to down sheets. If I press up, then I go to up sheets. So that way you can change sheets using the keyboard. Alright, so we will mark this also as complete. Perfect. Now we need to adjust the row heights of the new sheet that we have created. Here we have given row height A1 to 12 and the formula is Alt H O H. So let's go to our new sheet. Here the cell number that we want to change is A1. We can see the cell number from this space in the Excel sheet. All the numbers that we have are termed as rows and all the alphabets in the upper side are columns. So we need to change row height to 12. So for that we have formula Alt plus H. Now Alt H activates the home tab and in home tab we need to press O, which will activate the formats, and then once again H. So here we have row height, a number that we have to plug in so that it will adjust the entire row height. The default setting is 14.4. We need to turn it to 12 and then press enter. Now the row height has changed. We can see that all the row heights below 1 are 14.4, that is default, and 1 is a bit shorter to 12. Perfect. Now let's move on to the next one, which is column height. Now we need to adjust the column height, that is the alphabets that we have on the upper side, where we have given A1 to size 2 and the formula is Alt H O W. We have completed this row height, so we'll mark it as complete and then once again move to the sheet 4. We will change the name of the sheet over here to professional format. So to change the name of the sheet, you need to right click on it, and then once you right click, there is a button for rename. Once you press it, you can rename the sheet. So I'll name this professional format. Perfect. Okay, we were on the fourth formula, which was column height. To adjust the column A, we need to be in cell A1, and we need to press Alt H O and then W. So we can see that the row height has been changed, and we now need to change the column width. Here we will press W, and then column width is activated. So the default size is 8.11. Now we will change this to 2. Perfect. So we can see that the size of the A column has changed to 2, and the row height has also changed to 12. Perfect. We are doing this because whenever someone visits on our page, whatever things we are creating, they should see kind of a border margin on the page so that it looks good to eye. It is not very clustered. And that's why we are giving margin kind of a thing to the entire page. We are not going to write anything in this A column and the first row. We are going to leave it blank. Now, after adjusting for the margins, we are going to give title to this entire sheet so that we can understand what is the working we are going to do in this sheet. So first, for that, we are going to start writing from cell number B2. We can see the cell number from here. So it is B2. Since we are not using row number 1 and column A, we have the first cell of the entire sheet as B2. Here we are going to give title to this sheet. For now, let's give it professional format. Perfect. Whenever we see a sheet which has a title, it is bigger in size and it is bold so that people know that this is title for the sheet. We will now turn this professional format title into bigger size and bold as well. Let's see formula for that. First we have formula number 5, which is about font size, and the formula for that is Alt HFS. When you start working in industry, most companies will use Calibri as standard font style. So here we are going to change this entire sheet to Calibri. So for that, we need to press Control A, which will allow us to select the entire sheet. So when you press Control plus A, it selects the entire sheet. And now we will change the entire sheet's font size. For that, we have to press Alt, which will activate the home tab, then H and FS. We can see FS is for font size and FF is for font style. So first we will change the font style to Calibri. So FF, and we will type in Calibri. Okay, so the font style has changed to Calibri. Now we will change the font size. So for this B2 sheet, since we want to make it to a bigger size because it's the title, we will change the font size from 11 to 14. So for that, we will once again press Alt H, which will activate the home tab, and then FS. Now this 11 will be changed to 14, and then enter. Perfect. So we have changed the font size of cell number B2. We now want to make this like a title, which is bold, italic, or underlined. So how are we going to do that? So we have completed formula number 5, where we change the font size. We have completed formula number 6 to change the font style. Now we have formula 7, 8, 9 pending with us. So we will mark this complete, complete, complete. Perfect. 7, 8, 9 formulas are about giving a style to your title or text that you have written. To give bold, we have formula Control plus B. For italic, we have Control plus I, and for underline, we have Control plus U. So let's apply this to our sheet. Okay, so we have the title ready with us. Now to give bold, we are going to press Control plus B. Okay, so we have this bold. Now if we want to make it underline, we will press Control plus U. And then if you want to make it italic, that is a bit slanting, then we will press Control plus I. Okay, so now this looks like a title. When you will be creating a model, there will be a lot of sheets that should have a title. So for example, if you are working upon profit or loss statement, so you can directly give name to this and start working on that model. That way we now understood how a professional sheet is created, what is the layout that you have to follow. Now we are going to understand how you can automate this entire process so that you don't have to every time fix the row height, fix the column width, and change the B2 cells font size, font type. We are going to do it automated, and every time you open a sheet, just type in the shortcut key for that and your sheet will be in professional layout. For that, we need to understand the macro formula. Now to understand macro, first let me give you a brief about what is macro. So whenever you start recording a macro, that is your Excel will be recording all the functions that you are doing on your sheet and then store it in their database and give a shortcut key to that. Now when you press that shortcut key, all of those formulas that you perform while recording the macro will be performed instantly, and a output is given to you. It might sound very difficult to understand, but when we perform it, it's very easy and very convenient to work with. All right, so we have 4 incomplete formula check in this entire sheet, because we have already completed this formula when we created our professional format sheet, and we need to work upon that for this sheet as well, so that the Excel will record everything in their database. So let us open new sheet, and now we need to start recording macros before we plug in anything into our sheet. So to record macro, we have the formula alt plus w plus m plus r, so that will start your macro. So when moving to sheet number 5, now alt W is view tab. We have to press M, that will open the macro, and then we have to start recording macro. So for that we need to press R. Now once we press record macro, we have to give name to our macro. Now the thing to note while you are giving name is that you cannot give a blank space in the name. You have to give it a underscore. Next, we need to attach a shortcut key to this entire macro, so that when you open a new sheet, you press the shortcut key and the entire function is repeated. For that, you need to give control plus any of the alphabet on your keyboard or number. From my experience, I would suggest that don't give any alphabet along with just control key. You need to give alongside shift. Why? Because control plus any of the alphabet on the keyboard have a shortcut already attached to it. For an example, you press control plus B, that will make it bold. So if you press control B after giving it as a shortcut for macro, the bold won't work, and that will clash the formulas. If you press control C, that is copy, and if you give any macro to that, it won't work. So my suggestion is that give control plus shift plus any of the alphabet. So let's understand how we can do that. So here we need to press on the blank cell, and then press shift alongside with that any of the alphabet. So I'll press P. Now I have a shortcut key of control plus shift plus P to activate this macro. Perfect. So whenever I open a new sheet, I need to press control shift plus P to run this macro. So now we need to store this macro. I will store it in my personal macro workbook. This is because whenever you open any of the new Excel sheet, this macro will work. If you save in new workbook, then it will only work in the new workbook that you are going to open next. And if you save in this workbook, then it will only work in the sheets that you are going to create in this entire worksheet. So my suggestion is that store in your personal macro workbook, and you can use it anytime you want. Description is a brief explanation about what this macro does. So we will write gives professional to the worksheet. Perfect. And now we need to press OK, so that it will. All right. So I had already created a shortcut for control plus shift plus P. Now I need to change this alphabet so that there is no clash. So now I'll change this to F. So control plus shift plus F. Now I need to press OK, and perfect. The macro, when I press macro over here, it is already recording, and when I press stop recording, it will stop all the recording of formulas and whatever functions I'm doing on this sheet. We will go to the macro formulas and see what are the steps that we need to do next. All right, so I will not change any of the formulas that are incomplete to completed, because that will be recorded in macro sheet. For now, we need to do all the steps that we did on for professional format sheet. We remove the grid lines. We need to adjust the row height, column height, font style, font size, bold, italic, underline. So let's record everything in the macro. So first of all, we will remove all the grid lines, that is Alt W V G. Perfect. Then we need to adjust the row height. So Alt H O H, this will be 12. Column height to 2, Alt H O W 2. Then we are going to move to cell number B2, and here we are going to write macro for professional format. Perfect. We need to change the font style of the entire sheet. So for that, Control A, and then font style is Alt H FF Calibri. The font style is done. Now we need to change the font size of this cell number B2. So for that, Alt H FS to 14. Perfect. Now the final step is to make it bold, underline, and italic by Control B, Control I, and Control U. Perfect. Here we have completed all the steps to make this sheet as a professional format. Now we need to stop the recording of macro. So once again, we will go into View tab, Alt W, and then we will press M to see the macros, and then R to stop recording. Perfect. So that way we have closed our macro recording, and to see if the function is working or if the macro is working, we are going to open a new sheet, and then we have given shortcut key as Control Shift plus F. Magic. So that way a professional formatted sheet is created in a single press of a shortcut key. So here we will give name to this entire sheet like cash flow, and start working on this sheet without adjusting anything. So that way we saw how you can record a macro and get things working faster and in efficient manner. Alright, so that was it for the first part of this entire series. Hope you now know how a professional format is created and how you can automate it using an Excel macro. In the next video, we are going to understand the 13 core formulas that will help you build the entire structure of your financial model. See you in the next one. Until then, this is Karan Damanya taking your leave.